So I said, oh, really? What are the conditions like? So he told me, they'll give you a vehicle, the pay is good, they'll pay for your rent and this and that. So looking at my situation at UTH, I thought, this must be better than where I am. So that was my coping strategy. The next day or so, we were at the ZAF base there, doing medical tests, and they made us run around a little bit to see how fit we were. And that was it. The next 2 weeks, we found ourselves in Livingstone at the ZAF Academy in military training. And when I was going, people were saying, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Do you know what they will do to you in military training? I said, yes, I know, and I want to do it. Truth was, I had no clue what I was in for. So we arrived there with Dr. Temple 2 weeks late. The other students or officer cadets, as they are called, had already started their training. We got off the bus and met this flight sergeant. And the first thing we were made to do was put our bags on top of our heads, squat down, and start doing frog jumps to the mess. That was our welcome. And I used to watch those movies of military life. I think these guys are exaggerating. There's no way these things can happen. But during my 6 months stay at the military academy, I found that they were actually not portraying the correct picture. It was a lot worse than what they portrayed. And one of the reasons I decided to move on was that being an officer was great, but it wasn't quite in line with how I saw my life going. During that 4 years, I think I'd gotten to know myself better and had a better idea of where I wanted to go with my life. And so that is partly what I want to talk about now, is living on purpose, designing the life you want and knowing where you want to go. And most of what I'll talk about is based on the book that I have published called Power Principles for Purposeful Living. You can find this at arcades and most book world stores around, or with me if you're keen to get it. You see, I realized that it's all very well to be in the Air Force or be a doctor, but that dissatisfaction was partly because I was not being everything that I wanted to be. Yes, it was a good life, it was good money, I was well recognized in society, but still there was that inner voice saying, there is more you can do with your life. And so, I want to ask you, what do you think is your biggest liability as a doctor?
My biggest liability is the fact that I find myself constantly putting myself in life-changing situations. In my work, I always tend to spend my time to help other people. And maybe I don't get as much support.
I think my greatest liability is time. Find that I only have time for work. I don't have time to do anything besides work, and the little time I can have, I just want to sleep and rest. But I think this one is time.
I think my biggest ability is bureaucracy. I find myself trying to control a lot of things. I guess I'm one person who wants to control things. Otherwise, I don't work, but bureaucracy part just like
I think my biggest ability is sometimes it's difficult to express my inner feelings. For example, last year when Zambia won the African Cup, I ran into town. I wanted to remove my shirt, but the fact that I was a doctor I was moving it like this. I was praying that I couldn't fully express myself exactly.
What would you say if I said your biggest liability as doctors is the fact that you are a doctor? Let me explain what I mean. From the time you are at university, in med school, and you're a medical student, How does your family, relatives, and friends behave towards you? They really admire you, right? Your parents want to show you off. This is my son, this is my daughter, he's training to be a doctor, he's in medical school. And throughout that time, you get this sense that there is something very special about you. Society regards you a certain way, you are different. In fact, maybe you're more intelligent than the average person. And then once you graduate, that just becomes much worse. Or is it better? Now everybody respects you, you're a doctor, a lot of people look up to you, you're a role model, and generally you carry that weight of being a doctor. As someone has said that they couldn't even take off their shirt to celebrate Zambia's victory because of being a doctor. It was restricting them. So, in all that admiration and the way society looks at us, what happens to us? We get a little bit big-headed. You know, I'm a doctor. Carry yourself a certain way. You know, you want to show that you're a doctor. You know, after all, you've been 7 years at med school, you deserve it. No one can take that away from you. You deserve it, right? The others haven't made it, but you made it through. Now you're a big guy, big shot. So you revel in that. But you know why it's a liability? Because you get so used to that, that you start thinking of yourself as a doctor. Nothing wrong with that, as you might say. Or you stop thinking yourself as any other thing. Now you're a doctor. What do you do? I'm a doctor. And some people get offended when you give out their title when you're introducing them. This is Moses Simuyemba. Doctor. It's a doctor. If you write on the letter, you don't write the doctor, it's a crime. You know? So that becomes a liability because it restricts our scope. It restricts our vision of who we are. We focus on just that one thing, and that becomes our life. So that is a liability because I have worked in so many different places, UTH, Ministry of Health, ZAF, Red Cross, and other NGOs, and I've seen that everywhere you go, doctors are doctors. They want to show that they're doctors. Okay? But that becomes a liability. What do you think is your biggest asset as a doctor? Whilst you're thinking about that, whilst I was at medical school, my friend Lesa Wright and I were very unconventional. I remember we would often say to people that were our friends that come to visit, especially in my room, say, if you want to come to my room and chat, let's talk about anything else other than school. Because I don't want to be talking about school. I don't want to be in class school, outside school, in my room school, and what's happening with this lecturer and that doctor, and what happened today on the round. So I had one rule in my room. I said, if you want to come, relax, no chatting about school, please. And Friday evening, no school, no studying. Friday evening is for relaxing. So I think even at that early stage, we had this notion that there's more to life than being medical students. There's more to life than being doctors. So even at that early stage, there was that recognition that, yes, I'm training to be a doctor, but I'm much more than that. Now, what is your biggest asset as a doctor?
Job security.
Job security. It's very hard to find doctors. Even when they misbehave.
I think social interaction. I think as a doctor, interacting with different people who are not doctor interact. That's
my title. Because anywhere I go, if I go as China, the treatment is different. But the moment I say I'm going to China, I receive a lot of things by my title.
Your biggest asset is that you're a doctor. So it's both your liability and your asset. As he's mentioned that when he goes to places, when he tells them he's a doctor, they treat him differently to other people.